Welcome back. Rather than doing a 1 minute video for these last three, I'm just going to do maybe a 5 minute video on all of them. So the anti-radar or anti-radiation basically sees the same as a heat-seeking missile, except it only picks up radar. So what you would use that for is radar installations. You'd get a little picture on your MFD showing you where things are. You can either do it like as a target of opportunity or a pre-planned. It'll lock onto where the radiation is coming from and fire. Sometimes if they switch off the radar installation, then the missile doesn't know where it goes and it just disappears off into yonder. But if they switch it back on, they're in big trouble. So you can use that to your advantage to at least get the radar switched off for a specific amount of time. So either way, there is a benefit to rifling one of these. Cluster bombs. Now there's an area effect with these. They can come from very basic stuff to just dropping little bomblets to the CBU-97, which is a sensor fused weapon. Very technologically advanced. It throws out pucks, which the pucks sense for heat. And once they find a heat source like an engine from a tank or a truck or whatever, they fire off and destroy whatever vehicle they can see. So when it comes to cluster munitions, there are some settings with there as well, settings within there as well. So you've got height of function, which is HOF, and the RPM, which is the spin rate. So height of function is when it will begin doing what it needs to do. It'll start releasing its bomblets. The spin rate is the speed at which it will eject them. Now, the only cluster bombs I've used have both those settings. There might be some other settings or maybe even less settings, but generally it's height of function and RPM. So the spin rate, obviously the higher the spin within the range that's available on the weapon, the more the bomblets will spread. So you can get a wider spread. In that case, you're probably not going to hit everything if you do it too large, I guess. And the height of function will also affect how the bomblets are spread as well. So that really comes down to a bit of practice to get what you want out of it. I've had to practice with that many a time to see, you know, how am I going to hit a column if they're this far apart or that kind of thing. Cruise missiles. So they're pretty good because they give you an increased standoff range. These are not generally cruise missiles, the majority of them. I do believe the Vision has a cruise missile of some kind, but the majority is they will just glide to the target. So given your height, altitude, they will release and then little wings will come out and they will glide. The good thing with this is you can set waypoints as well. They're good for anti-shipping because if you get close to a ship, those things are bristling with weapons. And you can also choose the angle of attack, whether you want it to hit on the side or hit on the top. You can set these with a lot of information actually. So you can set them up to do what it is you want to do fairly goodly. So the waypoints is probably the biggest benefit to the cruise missiles that can take waypoints. So if you don't want to send a missile through a certain area or whatever, which, you know, it can come in handy, you move that. You can basically send it you know, in the general direction. It'll hit a point and it'll actually follow the waypoints in. Say for instance you want to hit a target, but you know there's ships on either side. They have some form of goalkeeper weapon. You can prevent that missile from being taken out by putting in some carefully planned waypoints between those ships, so then they can't hit it and you're good as gold. There's plenty more reasons why you would do that, but this is we're just going to cover off the simplest, easiest things, and now we're going to move on to something a bit more in depth, I think. So If you want to play along with me and learn a new module with the Vision, I suggest you download the manual. You don't have to go and get it now. If you want to do a different module, maybe download the manual. Give it a quick look over. You don't need to pay attention to anything too much, but say for instance the Vision, like don't concentrate too hard, but say for instance the Vision, if you see anything that you might want to know, just note it down. So if you see something like the gear and flaps are both tied, so there's no gear or flaps, there's no flap switch because it's related to the gear and it comes down when the gear's out, something like that, just write it down. We're not going to pay too much attention to the instruments or anything. Just have a quick read through. Anything that stands out, note it down. But basically what we want to do is find the section where it shows you the startup. That's what we're going to go through first. So get a pen and paper ready. Have a quick read through. Anything that's glaring, write it down. But we just want to find, without using Control F, where the startup procedure is. So just find where that is. Have a quick glance through. Don't pay too much attention. Just browse through, note anything down that's of major importance, and we'll start moving on soon. We've still got a few more of these to go through that are fairly simple, but when it comes time to learn the module, if you want to learn along with me, you can join in. The reason I've picked the Vision is because it's complex. It should help us kind of get close to the learning curve. For me, I think the Vision's going to be difficult, and if you're new to this, learning any aircraft for the first time is probably going to be difficult. So I want to try and close that gap so we're both going through the same pain, and I'll show you how to break it down into something a bit more simple. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.